Hey everyone, my name is Joshua, and of course you know that because you're about to watch an amazing broadcast, and let me tell you, it is awesome. And if you've ever had questions about deepfake technology, this interview is going to answer those questions. But the technology we talk about, we're not able to show as we're broadcasting and doing the interview. So what you're about to see before the interview starts is a sneak peek at how our guest's technology works. And it's simple, it's amazing, and wow. But you're going to love this interview. It is so much fun. It is one of my favorite interviews I have ever done because I know what I know about deepfake mask and other similar technologies, but this is like a whole new level. And not just where we're at with deepfake technology, but where it's going and the solutions that are being provided for this problem. And it's probably been an epidemic that we don't know about. That said, it's going to become a bigger problem as AI gets more advanced, and it seems like every day now it has a new capability. So you guys are going to love this, but check out these videos before the interview starts. Have an amazing day. Oh, and for the podcast audience, probably good time to watch the video. Anyway, you all have a blessed day. Thank you for watching, and have an amazing time watching Unmasking Humanity, 21 Questions with Joshua T. Berglan. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unmasking Humanity with Joshua T. Berglan. This is not just another interview show. It's a journey into the depths of human potential where we uncover the motivations, passions, and the core values of fascinating individuals. I'm your host, Joshua T. Berglan, and I'm excited to have you join us today. Before we dive into today's episode, I would like to give a shout out to our amazing sponsors, Wild Warrior Nutrition, fueling your body and mind with premium supplements for peak performance. Golly, I can't talk today. You can check them out at wildwarriornutrition.com. And I'm taking two of the products right now, and they probably have me a little bit more jacked up than I should. But the pine pollen is one of the most amazing superfoods ever, and I'm absolutely loving this product. And another product that's so funny for me to say, because maybe I'm a little bit immature, but the bull testicle product is absolutely madness. I'm a big fan of Shilajit, but I got to tell you, after taking the bull testicle product, I don't think I'll ever take Shilajit again. This is absolutely amazing, especially if you're getting older and you're looking for some invigoration. There's nothing quite like it. And Wild Warrior Nutrition, the other thing I love about them, they have no fillers, no junk other ingredients in their product that actually contradict the reason why you bought the product in the first place. I love this brand, and you got to check them out. Also, FlexBuy. They are offering flexible financing solutions for businesses, solopreneurs. If you're a coach or consultant, this is an amazing service for you. It's absolutely amazing, and it's absolutely easy to get people approved. The process is quick and painless, and it's absolutely a dream come true for coaches and consultants. Check them out at flexbuy.com. My goodness, I have a lot of energy today. Anyway, now let's get back to Unmasking Humanity. I'm your host again, Joshua T. Berglan. I'm the founder of the World's Mayor Experience and the visionary behind the Bridge to Media Empowerment Centers. My passion lies in mentorship and empowering individuals to thrive in our rapidly changing world. Through the World's Mayor Experience and its mentorship experience, we prepare people for the fourth and fifth industrial revolutions. As a best-selling author and an award-winning producer, I'm dedicated to sharing stories that inspire genuine connection and understanding. Unmasking Humanity is about unveiling our true selves. The 21 questions I ask are designed not to trick or expose anyone, but to help us all, myself included, get to know our guest on a deeper level, revealing the core of their purpose and who they truly are. It's about fostering genuine human connection in a world that often prioritizes the superficial. Today, I am thrilled to welcome Jon Miyachi, and I hope I said that correctly, the co-founder and CEO of Bitmind. This is amazing. You guys are in for a treat today. The world's first decentralized deepfake detection system. So let me say that again. He's the CEO of Bitmind, the world's first decentralized deepfake detection system. It's incredible. Ken's work is crucial in safeguarding digital integrity with innovative, accessible tools like the AI Detector app, Chrome extension, and XBot. Let's welcome Ken to Unmasking Humanity. Ken, welcome to Unmasking Humanity. How are you?
I'm doing well, Joshua. Thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. And that was an epic intro. Definitely very much appreciate it.
Well, I'm very, very excited about having you on. I've been around, I've seen deepfake technology work. I've seen the mask. I've seen a lot of really crazy things over the years. And I'm so happy that now it's no longer looked at as a conspiracy. It's very, very real, and people are it's becoming to the public's attention in ways that I didn't really expect to happen. I was always one that looked at it from the lens of, how people are being fooled on TV. And again, I won't go down that rabbit hole right now, but your work is very, very important, and I'm honored to have you here.
Likewise, no. Again, really appreciate you having me on, and definitely excited to discuss with you. I think, yeah, deepfakes are definitely a big issue, and hopefully we can discuss that among a bunch of other things.
Excellent. Well, before we get into the 21 questions, I would love to know, what are you grateful for today and why?
I'm grateful for the simple things in life. I work at an AI and technology company. I stare at a computer for 12 to 14 hours a day, and so just having you know my family that's in good health. I'm in good health. I have a great loving girlfriend and a healthy dog that bring me a lot of joy. And so just some of the simple things that you can get that can often get lost in the grind and the pursuit of passion of starting a company and trying to pursue excellence.
Okay. So, side note, really quick. I ask this question to every guest. It's the only question I ask every broadcast, and every broadcast I've done in all of the different shows I've done. And I have to say that that is one of the most thorough, well thought, well said, well rounded gratitude answers I've ever been given. I loved it. It was fantastic. And it was also sincere, which makes it even better. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
All right. Are you ready for your 21 questions?
Let's do it.
All right, let's dive in. What inspired you to create Bitmind, and how does your technology combat the rise of AI driven misinformation?
Great question. So the genesis of the idea came at the beginning of 2024. I was working at the previous company I was working at was called Near Protocol, and they were very much thinking about decentralized AI and the thesis of them being uh, essentially self-sovereign internet. You have these companies like OpenAI, Google, etc., that are really dominating the generative AI space. And there's been a lot of issues in the past about how these large tech companies are controlling your information and controlling what you view, etc. And that was, really dangerous in exploring this self-sovereign AI, self-sovereign internet concept. The thesis around why deepfake detection was so important was a variety of different issues. I think the most compelling one was that 2024 was the year of not only the US elections, but there was elections all around the world that were happening in Taiwan, in India, across a variety of European nations. And the thesis was that this would be the first election cycle in the era of AI. And how would this affect that election cycle? And would there be a lot of deepfakes, a lot of misinformation going to consumers that would have them make, you know, essentially misinformed decisions on who they wanted to vote for? And then the second was that decentralized AI and the protocol that we're building on, which is called BitTensor, is a very dense and technical topic. And this was a really good use case to bring that technology to the masses and to the broader audience. I think a lot of everyday consumers, whether you're in tech or or not, you understand what a deep fake is. You understand the concept of getting scammed. And
Yeah.
so kind of twofold, feeling that it was a really important technology, an important service to offer the world, and then secondly that it was very much so in the mainstream zeitgeist. People were interested in it. It could make a big impact. A lot of people would use it. That it was a very good business to start.
That was awesome. I, and all I could think about when you were talking about the election is the candidates. And I'm not going to say their names because I don't want to make anyone angry, but it seems like the last two presidents of the United States, I guess I am saying their name. Oops. It seems like there's a few different versions of them. And it's because again, I brought up deep fake mask originally and how that technology is used. I like I like to pay attention to people's faces. I don't remember names so well, but I remember faces. And I remember when something's off and I'm looking at something that's off. It's really bothering me. Does your system, is there a way, like for instance, if we're watching video of the president talking of any country for that matter, and they look a little bit different, if I'm looking at the tech, if I can I use your technology to determine if someone is wearing a deep fake mask or it's AI that's been generated and it's somehow being displayed on our screens? Is there a way to detect that?
Yeah.
Oh,
So yeah, we have two different products that integrate. Let's see. So we first started out by only detecting images, and basically because at the time when we started it, there was very photorealistic images that generative AI was creating, but videos hadn't necessarily caught up yet. And I think now there's been, the velocity and progress of generative AI is so fast. Billions, if not trillions, of dollars total have been dumped into the space. That the videos have improved. 2 year in the past 2 years, we went from Will Smith eating pasta. I don't know if you've seen that video,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really terrible. To like super hyper realistic videos. And so we have two ways you can do it. Like right now, maybe the most simple way is like to download a video. You can upload it to thedetector.ai, and it will give you essentially a confidence score of how, you know, whether this is AI generated or real. And then something that we're really excited in the future is because like right now we just do binary classification, right? Whether this is AI generated or whether this is real. What we're working towards is to provide users essentially a heat map of what part of the image, video, audio has been masked, has been touched by AI, etc. So if you think about the example that you use, which is a face swap or deepfake
Mhm.
mask, right? The idea was that while you're looking at this video, it would overlay some sort of you know um, like color or some kind of visual that the
Yeah.
user could understand of like, hey, this face was modified. Or if you think of like maybe someone holding a gun or like someone doing something very provocative, it would tell you exactly what part of the image or video was modified by AI.
Okay.
And I think that'll get more and more important as the generative side gets more and more robust and realistic.
Oh my God, I feel like I'm in the movie They Live. This is amazing. I mean, and what I love about this so much, and this is not part of the planned questions or anything, but what I love so much about this is that you're providing a solution to a very real problem. And this has been a problem for a while now. It's probably longer than people know or probably really realize, but now it's at the forefront. And you're solving a real problem. I mean, this is an amazing solution, and I feel like this can carry over to a lot of other things too. I mean, it's brilliant. But I want to ask you, in simple terms, can you explain how Bitmind's decentralized deepfake detection system works, and what sets it apart from centralized solutions?
Yeah. So Bitmind solution is built on top of a network called BitTensor. And essentially what BitTensor does is it provides this open competition where AI developers around the world can compete and develop the best AI models possible for any given problem. So the network is split up into currently like 60 plus different what they call subnets, and each of those subnets are an individual competition. So Bitmind subnet, what we do is we design this competition where AI developers around the world are consistently trying to train the best deepfake detection models, submit it to this network, and then based on how accurate they are, they get rewarded for performing better or not. And so that is really the decentralized component of this. You don't just have a single model or a single service trying to differentiate between AI or real. You now have hundreds of different models. When you go to like our services, you have hundreds of different models trying to make this classification and say whether this is whether this is AI or real. And because of that decentralization and the multiple inferences you get, the performance is actually significantly improved over a centralized system where you only have, one specific service or model that's trying to make that classification. It can be overfitted. It could not handle certain generative AI models, or let's say it doesn't handle faces very well.
Right.
By having this essentially dissenting opinions and all these different models at every check occurring, you end up getting not only a much higher performance, but you also very much so reduce the bias in what is happening.
Right.
Because I think there's a very slippery slope that can go down when you're in centralized AI that it is biased or overfitted towards one direction, whether that be your political leaning or whether it have any type of social like social bias, etc. And what this does is it really creates not only an open source but just a much higher fidelity, higher accurate solution.
So you're kind of like Snopes before it got bought out. I mean, but for humans, like you're before. I mean, because Snopes is biased now, and I don't know if that's the right comparison. But what would happen, for instance, if Elon Musk or Sam Altman came up to you and said, "We're going to give you $20 billion for your technology"? Would you take it?
Probably no. I, the entire thesis. Well, I guess there's some caveats or dependencies about like I would need to know more information, but I think right the two guiding principles that we have among a variety of kind of first principles that we operate on is that right this needs to be open source. I think there's two reasons behind that. One, really believing that open source AI and open source technology is the best way to keep AI beneficial to human beings.
Yes.
Having it controlled by any individual company, even any individual nation, is, I think, a recipe for failure. The second is really on a technical aspect, right? You're seeing these models get so much better over time, and you're seeing compute get so much better at each iteration of them. It's actually some of the highest depreciating assets in the world. And so as a technology company in the AI space, your only moat is really velocity, how fast you can move and improve whatever your service is. And by being open source, that enables you to improve at an extremely fast rate because you have the entire world with at least the potential to help contribute to it. The second is really making sure that it stays decentralized. I think, right, that brings in the issues of bias and overfitting that I talked about with centralized companies. And so if they want to give us money, but we can keep to our core principles, I would, be more, I could potentially entertain it. And sure. I know, even though Elon says he kind of bashes OpenAI for not being open source, like Grok is not open source either, which is it's so interesting.
Grok 3 is amazing.
Grok 3 is really, really good. Grok 3 is really, really good.
I don't know if I would open source that either. I would want to keep that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting, but yeah, I think as a startup and right, having employees and running a company, like I think your kind of number one job is to essentially not fail and not run out of money. And so I think you need to take a pragmatic approach to that and say, hey, like we need runway. Having capital is important to essentially keep the company operating. But I think we're well capitalized. I think we have a really amazing team, and we don't need their money right now. But right, they're both really smart people. I have respect for them, even though I don't align with maybe some of their policies around open source and kind of like what they're building.
That's you're kind of making me wonder if a global decentralized government could work.
Yeah. So right.
I don't know
That's
if
a
that's a real question, but I mean, it's just like that thought keeps dropping in my head as you're talking.
I've actually explored this a little bit as well. So like I'm part of a couple. Right. I think it's gone through different cycles of popularity, but there's a concept called decentralized autonomous organizations (DAOs), and it's essentially where you have like a decentralized. It's basically decentralized governance, and there's a bunch of benefits to that where you don't have right centralized control over governance. But I think in practice, it's practically very difficult for a diverse group of human beings to all align on especially very critical decisions if they're involving you know money, finances, or like right existential decisions for even a project, never mind a government or nation state. So practically they're extremely difficult, and there is some benefit I think of having hierarchy. And then the second thing is like um we were testing out like could you actually have an AI be part of the decision maker in these DAOs where you're voting on decisions. Like, right, it got all the votes of like any this decision. It got all the information, looked at your past vote history, and then tried to make the best decision. Um, and I think it's definitely really interesting. And I think theoretically, that is actually what you want in a leader. You want someone to take all the information, assess it in an unbiased way, and then make a decision to either to go in what direction. I think stagnation is death in a lot of cases, and so you can't stay, where you're at if there's a problem or something needs to be fixed. Like not doing anything is critically important, and so I think it's very interesting in theory. I feel like a lot of people are working on it, and will be interesting to see if it ever plays out over something of very high importance, like like a nation state government or a company.
That's a good answer. So you've mentioned leveraging neighborhood pixel relationships for detection. Can you explain this technique and its effectiveness?
Yeah, neighborhood pixel relationship was, I believe, a 2024 academic paper that basically was the kind of open source state of the art at the time when we started developing this, and we adapted that and trained it on additional data. And essentially what neighborhood pixel relationship does is it looks at different convolutions or definitely partitions of an image or frame in a scene, and what it tries to do is identify anomalies in certain areas. And by doing that over different partitions of an image or frame, you can build up a confidence score of like, hey, this was an anomaly that this model was trained on, that it knew it was an AI generated image. This same anomaly is showing up on this image that I haven't seen before. Okay, there's a high probability that this is also AI generated. And the same thing goes with real, right? You're learning the kind of localized pixel relationships between real content and AI content and trying to differentiate them and then be able to make that inference, that prediction on information that you haven't seen when it's in the wild.
I said earlier, I made a kind of a joke about this reminds me of the movie They Live, and to expand on that thought, I'm curious to know, do you think your technology can advance at some point where we have glasses and we're walking through, New York City or our cities or wherever we live in the world? Because at some point we're going to be walking side by side with robots. I mean, I think we are now, but human-like robots. I think that's more common. I don't know why I believe that. I just do. But I do know at some point it's going to be very, very common to be walking the streets with robots that look very human-like. Do you ever see at some point your technology advancing to the point where we could know in real time that we're interacting with a hybrid or a full robot?
100%.
I'm excited.
Yeah, like I mean, like right now, what's interesting is like right, most of our classification does right now is with digital content, right? Stuff that is like being rendered on a screen and in pixels. And so like right, there's a bunch of additional complexities, and the technology would have to advance pretty significantly to get to analyzing kind of like, a 3D real world environment. But
Right.
as I mentioned, the velocity and the speed at which this technology is improving is so crazy, and I definitely see a world where you're wearing glasses, very Black Mirror vibes, and like you're getting your visual perception augmented with different information, whether it be like who is this person,
Right.
what company is this ad I'm looking at, is this a robot, is this real? Might be a little bit for the robot human classification. I think for a while it will still be my hypothesis there is like it'll be fairly obvious to tell
Mhm.
over the next maybe say at least 10-20 years to like I think the what I call it, like you have hardware and kind of computer in the technical world, in the digital world, but then humans and kind of animals, we have like wetware, and that technology was developed over millions, if not billions, of years, and that might be very difficult to replicate. But we'll see. Who knows? I know there's a bunch of advancements in like um, uh, you know biomechanical engineering and biology, so that'll definitely be interesting to see how that one plays out.
Yeah, I'm convinced we're going to be dating robots in 10 years, but that's my own dream world I like to live in. I won't date a robot, I don't think. I don't know.
I think I would have a really weird time doing that as well. Like, it's almost like I don't know, paying for friends or something like that. It's like, wait, like, does
Yeah.
this person just adapt? Like, this doesn't make me feel good, but who knows? I think right, the way we
This-
interact with technology is changing, and I think right, some of the very large AI applications are kind of related to romance and dating and personal connection. So, um, oftentimes, what new technology is, right? It really the innovation starts with like porn and crime, basically, and that's
yeah.
where that's where the innovation starts. So, I think it's no different with AI right now, and then you see it mature into other more sophisticated use cases.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a wormhole I'm going to stay away from because I could keep us here for 4 hours. I'm not going to go there. What role does blockchain technology play in Bitmind's decentralized AI network, and how does it enhance trust and transparency?
Yeah. So the role of blockchain that plays in our solutions and Bitmind solutions is this idea around consensus of the different models. So what I mentioned previously is like, right, when you send an image to our network, over 200 different AI models are making a prediction whether it's AI generated or real. And so the blockchain piece is really the consensus and the correct answer of how those AI models are performing. And so you have a variety of different validators that are saying, hey, like, this model was correct, this wasn't. And if you didn't have blockchain and a set of validators to approve that consensus, then you could get someone to like potentially like game the system and just say, hey, like this model is doing really well, even if it wasn't. And that is a big issue because what you want, you don't want bias and you don't want skewed. And right now on our network, I believe over like $5 to $10 million are getting distributed every month to the model creators of the network, or like the model creators of Bitmind that are training these models, putting a lot of both data, OpEx, human resources at this. And so when you have a lot of capital going to these AI developers that are creating these models, there is an incentive to try to game the system. And so what the blockchain component does out of this is it ensures the integrity of the competition and that it is remaining secure and honest. And then the second piece is the way that the kind of rewards I mentioned, the $5 to $10 million every month, that is distributed via blockchain and via in a cryptocurrency.
That's awesome. What's the most surprising or unexpected application you've seen for Bitmind's tools?
I think the most surprising application of Bitmind's tools is probably let's see, we have an enterprise partner. The company is called Pitastic, and they're a pet adoption application.
Huh.
And they reward their users for like submitting information about their pets and stuff like that. And they partnered with us to essentially do a check on if users uploaded kind of pictures or information about their pets. Was it AI generated or real? And so we had all these use cases in mind, like KYC, financial fraud, etc. But I think pet verification wasn't on that list. And but it makes sense, right? You don't want to adopt a dog that's not the right breed, or AI. There's a lot of scams out there in a variety of different places. So that one was a surprising one.
That is a kind of interesting. That's not what I was expecting either.
Joshua, can you wait 2 seconds? Someone's at my door.
Yeah, of course.
Sorry.
No problem. Well, since I'm here, I might as well talk about our sponsors again. Honestly, one of the best superfoods ever is pine pollen. This is amazing product. When I took this product for the first time, the natural energy that came from it was spectacular. There's going to be a link in the blog for this, and you guys got to check it out. And also in the comments, it's there too. But it's absolutely fabulous. It's one of those products you can feel almost immediately, and you should definitely go research the benefits, because I'm afraid I will say it in an inappropriate way. But it's absolutely fantastic. I took it before the gym. I took mine. I took my bull testicles and pine pollen. I took it before the gym on an empty stomach. That's the way to do it. Best workout ever today. That's why I'm so jacked up. Anyway, welcome back, Ken.
Thanks. Sorry about that.
No problem at all. No problem at all. Welcome back. So
Thank you.
let's go to the next question. Can you share a recent example where Bitmind's tools could have prevented a high-profile deepfake scam or misinformation campaign?
Yeah. So the big one that I think really sticks out in my mind, there's been a lot of really interesting recent scams. There was a Brad Pitt one where he was scamming women to thinking they were in a romantic relationship and going on vacation. A Joe Biden donation fraud campaign, and then Tom Hanks was selling some health product. So there's been a bunch, but I think the most impactful one would be in the Indian elections this year, there was $50 million spent on generative AI for both ways. I think the majority, from my understanding, was on malicious content or negative content about the opposing candidate's party. And so I think having Bitmind's tools in that circumstance, where you're making really highly critical decisions about who you want to vote for the prime minister or president of a country, and being able to make that differentiation, hey, this was AI generated, this isn't what they actually said or did, and this was real, I think would have made a very profound impact. And then it even leads to even kind of further distrust in the media. You're already especially in the US, you're seeing this massive kind of reduction in trust in traditional media. And now, like, even if you're looking at something real, there's a lot of questioning about it. And right, I think it would not being able to tell whether information is real or AI generated in the future, I think has the potential to really deteriorate the kind of fundamental fabric of trust and communication between human beings. And so ideally just having a tool to be able to just, quickly identify it, let you know what's going on, I think can really is just going to be just really, really important in the future.
Oh, I could not agree more. I'm thinking about TikTok and like we're in a swiping generation where the quick videos and it's almost the videos are so short now that you don't even have time to decipher. Like, oh my, like it's easy just to jump into assume they're real, and it takes a breath or two to be able to go, wait a second, is this legitimate? Prime example. I saw Detroit. I've been seeing videos of like Detroit frozen over all over TikTok. And I'm like, oh my God, the whole city of Detroit is frozen. It's underwater. And they were talking about the polar flip and all of this happening and Lake Michigan expanding and all of these crazy things. So I messaged my friend because I'm going, I know now that this may not be real. In the same way of all talks of the earthquakes and the flooding and the fires, like who knows what's real? The LA fires, prime example. They're showing videos of the fires, some videos, and then other people are going on and like, look, there's no fire. What's everyone talking about? The Hollywood sign. There's no smoke here, and then others, it's showing Hollywood signs burning up. So this instant gratification swipe, everything's really, really quick. Like, what's it going to take to get people to slow down? And one other question to that: what's it going to take people to slow down to care enough to want to know what's real or fake? Because I don't think that most people really care that much. Is it going to take people just getting hurt to the point that they get mad enough to go, enough with this? What do you think the solution is?
Yeah, very complicated question and very complicated kind of area of discussion. So maybe like I'll kind of address it, just maybe give you my mental model of how I think about it.
Please.
So the first one is I think it's going to be very difficult to get people to slow down, right? Like if you look at the younger generation and right, it's very terminally online. I think there could be some sort of change going back to it maybe in future generations, but like these, I grew up with, I was growing up in high school when like the iPhone came out and stuff. And so like, I'm aware of it, but also had some understanding of life before that. But these, the kind of like Gen X, I don't know, right? Like they're growing up with TikTok in their hand and a vast amount of information. I think it will be very difficult to slow people down. So what you need to do is make the detection technology as simple and fast and seamless and easy to use as the amazing experiences that have been designed for essentially addictiveness as TikTok and Instagram. And then in terms of like right, like do people care and like right differentiating between some of this stuff. So like I think something that we're like I mentioned some of our future plans are to add this heat map so you can determine what part of the image. The other thing that we're really contemplating is how do you incorporate sentiment or the critical nature of information that you're looking at. So like I think AI can be used in a lot of really great ways, right? Like it can be educational content.
Yeah.
And in that case, like maybe that's actually scary too, but like, right, maybe it's just like a stupid, funny video. It's like, I don't care if this is AI generated, but maybe if it's something, right, related to the LA fires or related to world conflict. Okay. That's something maybe I want to know. And it incorporates that type of sentiment or like the critical nature of the information. But I do think in terms of making people care, right, right, there will be some point of like people getting hurt or people getting scammed that will, I think, drive adoption of wanting to be more informed and do so. But I actually think this is already happening. It's very difficult to distinguish, like figuring out what to trust on the internet is already extremely, extremely difficult. And if you could, like, I think if you told someone, hey, with, a snap of your fingers, now you know what is misinformation, overly biased, AI generated or real or not, people would just say yes. But right now, right, there's a hurdle of like adding tools to your toolkit that will enable you to do that. But I think, right, it's just about making a better user experience and getting yeah, uh, creating a better product. And I think that's the path to widespread adoption.
I align with that. I like that. Which industries or sectors do you believe will benefit most from deepfake detection technology and why?
So I think there's three main ones that we're thinking about, but I do think it's kind of ubiquitous across a lot of people. So maybe the first one that really sticks out to me is consumer consumer fraud in like e-commerce.
Hmm.
So there's like a lot of like fake products on Alibaba, even Amazon, and it's like how do these platforms tell? And like right, there was a funny one of like this giant gorilla couch. It was like $1,000 or $2,000, and like there wasn't a giant gorilla couch. And so like being able to say like and or even if it was a real product, right? This is a rendering, this is AI generated, this is not like real. Be careful what you look at. I think would be extremely helpful. Like I think right. I'm definitely pro acceleration, but there is very real concerns around consumer protection and fraud, and like I think that is a really really big one. Um, the the second one I think is in financial crimes and like maybe more business related. So right, there's already a huge industry, what is called BEC, business email compromise. So it's like the phishing attacks and like click on this link and all that, and that's like a multi-billion-dollar industry of essentially scammers that do that. And with AI, this is only going to get more and more advanced. And so, could you have some sort of like, there's like a bunch of tools right now that are adept to like maybe the traditional BEC attacks. But in the future with AI, like, will you need to get more sophisticated? Will this tool be helpful for those? And then the last one is really on, like, I would say, plat like kind of platform content moderation or clean. I don't want to call it moderation. I'm definitely a huge fan of the community notes style
Yeah.
um, approach over like what previously Meta and some of the other companies were doing of like kind of hiding. I think just adding additional information on top is the way to go, right? Like, hey, you said this, okay, this is the consenting opinion, as opposed to like, taking it off. But like with dating apps or art websites or like anything like that, right? The pet application that I was mentioning, like, can you add additional information? Can you use it to help, you know, essentially clean some of the AI generated content that is on there? I think is a big one. And then maybe the last one would be like journalism. So it's like, right, like a lot of journalism and news nowadays is what they're trying to do, because the internet is so vast, is really like parse and curate information that they think is going to be important to end users. And if they're reading AI generated or misinformation, then like it's critical for them not to report on that kind of stuff. And so because they have like a trust associated with them, and so to build back that trust and maintain trust, I think it's very important for them to stay on top of their game.
Like that. What's the most common misconception people have about deepfakes and AI generated content?
I think people think they can still tell the difference. Which is like I always tell. So we have this. We're gonna roll it out on iOS and mobile very soon, but right now it's a Telegram game. But it's called AI or not, and basically you get a photo and kind of in the swipe. You swipe. Similar like Tinder, these dating. You either swipe like, is it AI generated or is it real? And I look at deepfakes all day. Like that's this is the space I'm in, and I'm probably at like 50-60%. And
Whoa.
so I think, it whenever people use it, they're always surprised, like, wow, I really stink at this. And it's hard, right? Because like the entropy of digital content is so high. It could be a picture of a picture. It could be fuzzy. It could be taken on like, a Polaroid and then a picture of that Polaroid. Or, it could be a really high fidelity AI generated photo or like a purposely messed up one with a filter on it. The entropy is so high that it's just extremely difficult to tell. And I do think, right, as generative AI gets better, it will only get harder. And the only way to combat it will be with similar to cybersecurity. It's just like you have to keep adapting. You'll have to keep adapting the kind of detection AI, and that's our thesis and why we're building this.
I love it. How do you envision Bitmind's technology shaping the future of digital trust and online interactions?
The vision for this is to have this be the most authoritative and accurate deepfake detection solution on the market and publicly available, widely available to any consumers that are on the internet or wherever, and integrated across the board in mobile, etc. And that it's almost a standard in when you're using applications that interact with the internet or any website, that this is just a part of it. And it's part of your personalization of how you consume information.
Mm.
I think that's actually the middle step. The long-term step is I really believe in this kind of concept of AI agents. I think it will be the way humans interact with most digital content in the future. I think right now, right, search is the dominant player of how the internet's used. And you Google something, you find the information. In the future, I see that interaction being more of you're interacting with your personalized AI agent. Hey, you know, find me information on this, look up hotels in this, in this area that I'm traveling to and help me book flights. And it being a core part of that AI agent toolkit to not bring back AI generated information or information that the end user, that the person doesn't want. I think is like the long term vision.
I love it. Well, speaking of vision, what's your vision for the future of decentralized AI, and how does Bitmind fit into that vision?
So on that, I really think that one, open source is going to be the future of the cutting edge AI development,
I agree.
and that velocity will, you know, essentially outperform any of these centralized AI labs, even though they're extremely well funded. I think long term, open source in terms of the foundational models will win, and like I think that was proved with DeepSeek. And then where I feel like BitTensor and Bitmind fit in is there's amazing both talent accrual and AI development happening in these specialized sectors. We do deepfake detection. There's another subnet, right, that does price prediction. Another, right, does optimized performance on language models to give you extremely fast and performant tokens per second, so that that's a great user experience. And I think this specialized, incentivized, decentralized version of AI is also the path to the fastest velocity and the most innovation. And so I truly believe that, BitTensor's specialization in all these different AI categories will, over time, become extremely powerful and be able to be used together to create better products, better services than kind of the current leaders that are the Anthropic, OpenAI, Google, Grok, etc. Definitely an ambitious and a tall task, but I think the thesis that open source and decentralized velocity will outcompete centralized is the thesis, and really excited to be a part of building that.
It's very clear that not only are you incredibly intelligent, but you have incredible vision. And and just to be able to create something like this to me is just mesmerizing. I'm just blown away by it. That said, like, what inspired you to even start Bitmind? Like, why solve this problem, and why are you so passionate about it?
So I think the core inspiration was really right. I think it's well documented now that what happened with social media essentially was not the right approach, where it was, basically harvesting data,
Mm,
potentially selling it to people, and it wasn't the correct model that was the best for consumers. And this explosion of AI and the concentration of power was like, hey, it seems like we're going down the same path here, where a couple companies control most of it. And AI is potentially orders of magnitude more critical than social media.
yeah,
And so that was essentially an existential moment where I was like, hey, I really need to be building something to advocate and move forward the space of open source and decentralized AI. And then the deepfake stuff specifically was, that was very much so on a pragmatic and and like kind of timing of where I thought what would be the most impactful aspect of the market. I think there's a lot of really exciting kind of verticals, topics, challenges in AI and decentralized AI that you can build. And the deepfake one really stuck out at me as being really amazing for consumer adoption. And I think that's like what I've always liked to do, like build something that gets used by a lot of people. You can go to market really fast, you can get feedback and you can iterate on it. And so that kind of combination of being inspired to build and for decentralized and open source AI, and then the impact and the potential use and the consumer appeal of deepfake detection really, really spoke to me to wanting to solve the problem.
I love it. What's one piece of advice you'd give to someone looking to protect themselves from AI scams besides download your extension?
Yeah, I could just show the extension.
Your extension's the answer to the question, but we're going to give that to people. But what else would you say?
I think the most important thing, even I actually would say this is more important than the extension, is really self education, which is honestly the answer to a lot of very difficult questions. But I do think it's the truth. Um, Basically, understanding where information is coming from and trying to think about, hey, are you being targeted for an ad? Is this preying on kind of like the worst aspects of your personality, of yourself, trying to like you know suppress you and not make you the best version of yourself. Just being aware, like, right, it's impossible to solve a problem without awareness. And so if you're not aware that you're getting targeted for deep fakes or targeted for ads, I think the best thing that you can do is be an independent thinker, like kind of question what you're looking at, and don't go crazy with it, and feel like you have to, like, I don't know, do deep investigation into anything. But if you see interesting information that is really affecting your thinking, or some of like your informed decisions, like, definitely I think understanding where that's coming from is really, really important.
Love it. You've mentioned the importance of community collaboration. How can viewers get involved in contributing to Bitmind's mission?
So there's 3 or 4 different things you can do. So the first one is like, right, if you are an AI developer, right, train models, submit them, and that's a great way to contribute, and that's really impactful. And that would be like, I would say, participating in our BitTensor subnet. But the other thing that you can do, which is very impactful for us, is, right, by using our applications. This is a self-improving system. And so if you download our browser extension, if you use our applications, if you use our web portal, by submitting images, videos, etc., you are helping train and improve the model over time, and you're actually getting you're getting points for that. It's almost like a gamified experience. And so by doing that, you're increasing the performance and accuracy of the system over time. And we're like incorporating RLHF feedback where, like, if you think the model got it wrong or correct, you can give a thumbs up or a thumbs down, which will really help improve the system over time. And so as an end consumer, definitely just like usage is how you contribute, how you can contribute.
Excellent. Last question. What's one question that you've never been asked in an interview that you've always wanted to be asked?
Hmm. What was your favorite memory this past year?
Oh, okay. So what was your favorite memory this last year?
So I think that this is a layup for me. I set myself up.
That's good.
It was a simple one. Right. I work a lot because I'm running an early stage company, and my girlfriend was trying to get basically get me away from work, and was like, there was some tension there. And I'd been working weekends, and kind of randomly we decided to just meet some friends for lunch. And there was like a raw oyster pop up there, and we just sat there and drank some wine and had oysters, and spent like way it was supposed to be like 30 minutes to an hour, and we ended up spending like a really long time there. Super simple, but it just really um was like a beautiful moment that helped, like, take away some of the tension, and really was like it was a good breath of fresh air and a break from work. And yeah, just I thought it was a really beautiful, simple experience. That was great for this past year.
I like that. It's good to have those days every once in a while.
Yeah.
It helps keep the motor running as long as you don't have too much fun. When
Yeah.
you get older, it hurts. So I'm happy to be retired from all that now. Well, I really, really, really enjoyed this and learned a lot. What I would like for you to do is have the last word. Please plug anything you want to plug, promote. And if there's anything on your heart that you want to share away. Final word is yours.
Awesome. Yeah. So if you're interested in learning more information about Bitmind, go to bitmind.ai. Our browser extension is on the Chrome store. Just look up Bitmind AI detector or AI detector, and you'll see it pop up. Definitely follow us on X. That's where we're really active, talking about all our new releases, product developments, etc. Then maybe final words is that, right? Like, open source and decentralized AI not only should win and will be better for humanity, but it will win, and it's actually the best technological framework to build upon. So, would love any contribution, getting a part of our community, reaching out to me, etc. We're always interested in meeting the folks that are using it or find it useful. So yeah, final words. But yeah, Joshua, really appreciate you having me on as well. This was a great conversation.